In a world where Monster Hunter makes it to the big screen and Brandon pays for his inadequate knowledge of Harry Potter, this is Sick and Wired.
Hey everyone, this is the Sick and Wired podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Devin Pratt, publisher for the site, and today I'm joined by Nathanael Hueso.
Hail Hydra.
And Brandon Para.
Hello.
I think we like to start this thing out with kind of what we've been playing this week. So, Nathanael, I'll let you go. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so you guys heard of a little game that came out for phones called Dragalia Lost? Well, it's a Nintendo and some other studio. I think it's like Cybernic or some weird thing. It's like an RPG with like chibi-looking characters, and it's again one of those where it has a microtransactions where you summon characters where you can earn characters by playing the game, but you can also get way more by paying actual money. But it's pretty fun so far. It's like super Japanese. Like some of the songs are they have Japanese lyrics in them or English, and it's just like very, very in-your-face Japanese. But it's pretty fun so far.
I think I saw something about that, but I don't know if I would. I'm not a big mobile game person, so I don't know. I might check it out. We'll see.
I am a sucker for games. I forget what the genre is called, but where they make you summon stuff with random chance. I don't
know what that's called.
There's a specific term for it. Oh, Psy Games is the developer. Nintendo published it. But stay away from this game. It's cancer.
I love my mobile games. I love my mobile Fortnite. Mobile. Let me tell you, I love to land tilted.
You know, I actually play Fire Emblem Heroes every single day, and I hate myself for it.
I do play a little bit of PUBG Mobile. I know smack me for it, but...
Yeah, and I also played just the intro to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, courtesy of Devin Lee, so I won't say too much on that.
You are welcome. No, we won't get into that. But
what have you guys been playing?
Brandon?
After last week's podcast, Devin got me going back to Conquer Game Dev Tycoon on pirated mode.
Pirated? Like you pirated the game?
No. So pirated mode is where you go in and what happens is it's the same exact thing pretty much, except unless you invest in your engines some kind of copyright protection, then a huge percentage of your sales gets taken away because they're pirated.
Oh, so unless it has DRM.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like, I was doing that, and I tried to stop the people, and I lost 4,000 fans, and everyone hated me. I don't get it.
What do you mean you tried to stop the people?
I don't know. They were like pirating the game and then playing it for free. It was like an older game that I had made, and I was no, you ain't doing that mess.
Did you send bomb threats or what?
And then everyone was like, no, we don't like you. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'll make something else.
That's something else entirely. That's just in the normal game. If you do the pirated mode, then every single time you put out a game and then you do a game report on it, then it'll tell you what percentage of your game, like of your sales, were actually pirated.
See, that just sounds like a hard mode, and I already, like I said last week, I already struggle to keep my if we're getting into what I've been playing this week, I've been playing more Game Dev Tycoon, and this time I did not go bankrupt, but I'm getting pretty close again. Because I have this habit of putting out a really good game. And I've had 2 games that were 9.75, and it brings in a ton of cash. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a brand new engine, hire more people, and then I'm scraping at the bottom of the barrel, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay the bills. And then I end up like Telltale Games.
Yeah, classic Telltale.
But that's what I've been playing, which I guess this would be a good way to segue into our news, which is, I guess, the main topic here. Like, not main topic of the news, but Telltale laying off the rest of their staff.
Yeah, their skeleton
Pretty
crew of 25 people is just gone now. So,
Which, I mean, that's pretty significant considering I was under the impression that they would be finishing up their contractual obligations for Minecraft.
that's what they had said in
I
an
didn't
official
think-
statement. So, yeah, it's confusing.
Whatever's going on up there, I think we can all agree that we wish the employees that lost their jobs the best, and it's kind of a sad and depressing and kind of aggravating end to one of the bigger dynasties, if you will, of the gaming industry over the past decade or so.
At least, like, putting stuff out.
Yeah,
I mean, they were like pretty acclaimed.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find a game that they made that didn't find a pretty significant audience.
Yeah, it's I guess to put it really eloquently, it's a significant bummer. But yeah, this just is interesting to me because of the greater implications of, we know there aren't the best working conditions in a lot of gaming studios, and there's either unpaid overtime or just insane crunch time, and who knows, some people are saying this may cause some changes in the game industry, but I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
yeah, and like following up on that, a few of the employees that were laid off. I mean, they had zero severance. Like I listed that article from, like, The Verge did a great job of covering this, and sources that were there that day said that they gave them, they're like, oh, don't worry, you'll still have health insurance till the end of the month. Well, the end of the month was 9 days down the road. So, like, what are these people going to do after that? And you got a couple people filing class action lawsuits because technically you're supposed to give I think it's a 60-day notice before you do, mass layoffs. So none of these people are prepared, and I think a lot of people have been trying to push union. I can't even say this right now, for a union workplace.
Unionization.
Yes, I cannot even say it right now. But for the gaming industry, and I think you're going to see a hard push after this. And in situations like this, it's kind of uncalled for. So I mean, I would like to see something like that kind of happen. But if we have nothing else to add on that, I know in the next section we want to kind of go over here is the Game Boy phone case, which I don't have a whole lot of info on this, but I know, Brandon, you're pretty in depth with this, so.
Well, I mean, as in depth as you can get, it's still kind of like just a very early development thing, but I think it's pretty cool. So they're going to take an app, they're going to make basically a Game Boy app for smartphones, and they're going to put a bunch of classic games on there, and even some new ones, maybe even that if they decide to, and you can get a case to go with it where if you flip it over your phone, you can choose to have it flipped over or flipped the other way. If you flip it over your phone, then you can press the buttons and play it like a real Game Boy, and it'll make contact with the screen and press the screen buttons on there. So I think it's a really cool idea, especially a great way to kind of be unique and get a different way of doing what PlayStation and Nintendo have already done with the PlayStation Classic that's coming out that we covered a couple weeks ago, and the SNES Classic. So I think this is a very new and frankly a better, probably more affordable way to get classic games.
I was just gonna say it's sort of a blend of the classic system and Nintendo's push for mobile gaming and kind of joining together. I think it's it's supposed to visually make your phone kind of look like a Game Boy, which I think is really neat. And I'm assuming it won't be too expensive, because it's really just a piece of plastic you put on your phone with the functionality to have like that touch screen. They have like a prototype image
Did you
online.
see how expensive Nintendo Labo was?
I mean, I don't have any comeback for that because I get my cardboard
That
for
was
free
cardboard.
usually. So
Don't get me going on Nintendo Labo. Yeah, Home Depot's usually got me covered in the cardboard area of life, but instead,
they don't usually have a cartridge that comes with it.
Yeah.
So
But other than I think Nintendo does a great job of getting very playful with their ideas, and I think this is just another way that they kind of follow suit. Like coming back on Nintendo Labo, I think that's a great idea. I think the price that went into that, I think that's asinine, but I'm not Nintendo and I'm not gonna criticize their methods because they're doing a lot of great work over there. But I just like how they get kind of playful with it. Kind of brings you back to being a kid, and that's what Nintendo reminds me of. So I mean, I like it. Obviously, still probably in patent mode, so who knows when or what we will actually see, but I think it's pretty cool.
all right. Speaking of
speaking-
Nintendo, what about the what about the new Switch that's rumored to be coming out kind of late 2019? Any thoughts there?
don't do this to me, Nintendo. I just bought a Switch a few months ago, and I know it's like if it does actually come out and the rumor ends up being true, it's still over a year out. But I don't know. I just don't want to buy another Switch. And the rumors are more along the lines that it's going to be like higher resolution, like not necessarily play games specific to that. It's not going to be like a big enough upgrade to where you can only play certain games on that, but just like maybe a better like stand, because the one on the actual Switch is so flimsy.
Yeah, I've only heard of it being hardware related, just in the sense of nothing really new, just a little bit of an upgrade, kind of in the
Right.
same way that kind of what the Xbox One X is to the Xbox One, except on a slightly smaller scale.
I wouldn't even say slightly smaller scale. I'd say it'd be like I think what you're gonna get here is like an upgraded, like they're talking about upgrading the screen. I don't think most of your hardware is gonna be like changed much. I think it's gonna be more like just resolution stuff.
Battery.
And, yeah, and like the things you were saying, the little nitpicky stuff that they could have worked on the first one. As far as like hardware goes, like there was a significant upgrade from the Xbox One to the X, whereas you're not getting something like that. I think for most people who have a Nintendo Switch, there's not going to be any urge or nothing crazy about this new one that's going to make them sell their old one and go buy a new one.
Unless you're a horrible, stupid, 100% fanboy like I am.
Okay,
I'm already selling my
never mind.
Switch yesterday, but
That's fair, I guess.
I definitely don't want Nintendo to try and give me any kind of reason that buying this new one would make me any better off necessarily than having this old one. I think that's one thing. I think this is probably a move that's much more targeted towards new players than people who already have one. At least that's how it should be used.
right.
Because it's a great way to say, okay, for those of you who have Xboxes and or PS4s or do a lot of PC gaming, we hear you. Yes, the Switch it's not nearly as capable as those because it is portable. It doesn't have that beefy hardware. But you know what? We're gonna do what we can. We're going to beef it up more and expect even more possibly to come in the future beyond that. Kind of what they did with the DSs, So I think, I don't know if it's supposed to be that kind of like, oh, you bought a Switch in 2017. Well, check out this brand new one. Come buy it.
Yeah, and like I think partial, like there's a lot of rumors of like new systems possibly coming on the way. I think you'll probably hear something next summer. This is just kind of like them staying in the kind of relative hype like news cycle for next year with everything that's possibly rumored to be coming. So So I don't know. I think it's mostly kind of like little nitpicky stuff they're fixing and kind of like PR related. That's just kind of how I see it. But I'm not personally gonna get one, but I wouldn't blame somebody if they did.
Yeah, makes sense.
I would. Whoever buys them should be, well, I don't want to put it lightly either. Should be hanged. So
What? Are you trying to tell me something? You literally just said you were
What?
gonna sell yours and buy you a new one.
I know. I have standards, and if I don't fall in line with them, punishment is gonna. I don't know what I'm saying. All right. So what else do we got in the news? Do you want to talk about?
I know we have the Google Games streaming, and this kind of highlights, our kind of relative to what part of our main topic last week kind of went about, was game streaming coming to the market. And I think this one, if you want to correct me, Brandon, you said something about it being able to stream games through a browser.
Yeah, so the idea is you'd be able to open up your Google Chrome browser and stream the game, almost as if you were to open up your Chrome browser and just go to Netflix or Hulu and stream a movie.
I mean, that's pretty cool, though.
So basically like that.
Now, is it going to be able to handle, like, are we talking, like, AAA games being able to play on my browser, or are we talking, like, Tetris?
Well, we're talking about definitely AAA titles, considering that they've I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe you might call it kind of like the beta of it, or I don't know. But they're starting out with testing it through Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So it's got to be pretty. I mean, that's as AAA as you can get for the most part. I mean, maybe when you're looking at something like Red Dead Redemption 2, like a game like that, I'm not saying that game per se, but a game like that may be too much. But I guess the whole big idea with streaming is that you don't need the super beefy hardware to do it. You just need the big thing that's going to be required is your internet connection. They're saying that you're going to need about 20 to 25 megabits per second for your connection, which depending on where you live could be a problem. But
it's an option. It's not phasing out things. So
right.
If you look at it that way, then it's just another option for the consumer.
Yeah.
Google, I guess Google's really wanting to get themselves into gaming. I guess this is saying, because they're not really. When you think of Google, video game just isn't.
I think they're running out of. I think they're running out of pies to put their fingers in.
Great. I think that's perfectly said. We'll leave it there.
Google, you can email me at hiremenow@gmail.com.
That's what you use for all of your...
Yeah, people get confused and send me job offers for different people, but
Oh, yeah?
that's...
At least you're using a Gmail account. Maybe they'll, take notice of that. If you came at
No,
them
that's
with,
not an actual account.
I know, but if you came at
I'm
them
sure
with,
someone took it
AOL,
at the
they'd
beginning of
probably-
Gmail.
I can see that being a thing. Like, oh, we have a job at Google. What's your email address? Ooh.
I should have made, early out the gate, google@gmail.com. Would have been perfect.
You would have never been fast enough for that.
And then been like, okay, Google, if you want it back, I need 10 grand.
Well, they
10
would probably
grand? Are
just-
you kidding me?
It's like people hijack domains. I'm just gonna hijack their Google email.
I doubt you could do that from Google themselves.
They'd probably be like, you're an
charge you.
idiot, just go away.
They'd just be like, no, you give it to us, and also we've withdrawn $10,000 from your account.
By the way, we openly let hackers into your Gmail account. Good luck.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
they do kind of have control over your email.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
They have a lot of control, and they have so much information that when I think about it, I get scared, so I don't think about it. And I just post more of my personal information online.
If we really want
why
to,
not?
I don't want to dive into all the Google mess because that stuff
No,
really
not
freaks
really.
me out after Ooh, those reports that came. We're not going to dive into that. We'll be here all night.
Honestly, it scares me after 1 minute, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. What are we going to talk about today?
The other big thing coming up is Capcom announcing that Monster Hunter is getting a film adaptation. The film is set to be, I think the script might have been written, and it's going to be directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. And if you guys don't know who that is...
Really?
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan because I love Resident Evil. He's done, like, all of the Resident Evil movies. So I think that's... I don't want to say it's a perfect choice, because you probably could find someone better than Paul W.S. Anderson, but I do like the choice. I am a Resident Evil fan. Some of them were but I do like the movies, and I think that he kind of has probably what it would take for this movie not to be a complete flop, because you know how video games and movies go these days. But yeah.
So you're saying it's only going to be a partial flop?
Only a partial flop. Kind of like, I don't know.
Like shorts instead of jeans.
Yeah.
We're talking like 45% on Rotten Tomatoes instead of 3%.
Exactly. It's not going to be like the Mario movie.
I get that. I think it's pretty hard to be the Mario movie. I think you have to intentionally make the Mario movie in order to be the Mario movie.
And I know they are one of the characters that's going to be in it's going to be the Admiral, so you will see that.
Oh, that's cool.
Admiral Akbar? I thought he died.
Oh, spoilers.
Oh, come on.
It's Star Wars, man. Don't even get me started on that.
Oh, get me started on that. Anyway,
welcome
so our
to the
main
Star
topic
Wars podcast.
We're actually going to be talking about Harry Potter, which is also a massive series. And apparently, and I've seen the footage, and I think you guys have too, of a leaked Harry Potter game. And there was like character customization and some of the castle and characters and some spell fights. And yeah, what do you guys think about the leak?
Okay, like after watching that, I did like dances in my room. Like it looks like everything I've always ever wanted in a Harry Potter game just off seeing that alone. Because if you look at like the older Harry Potter games, there was a lot of just like kind of like those movies gone video games where you just kind of follow the same storyline, whereas I don't think this is going to be more of like, it looks like kind of make your own story within the Harry Potter universe is what it looks like to me.
Like a more true RPG within Harry Potter.
Exactly. And I don't know, like watching him like just grab a wand and whack a goblin in the face with it with some spell looked awesome. I was like, yes. So I don't know, I'm extremely excited. I know, Brandon, did you see it at all, or?
I actually did not. So I heard about it, and then I was like, maybe I'll check that out later. And then Warner Bros. Came over and put their big publisher stamp on every video with it. So I have not seen it yet.
Well, sucks for you. You'll see it soon.
It popped up on Reddit, and the person who put it up there, I think he said it earlier, was like Vape This Bro was the account name that had posted it. And it doesn't look like something that somebody, if they were just trying to get people amped, it doesn't look like it was just made and then thrown on the internet. It looks like it was stolen and thrown on the internet. Like, even the way...
It looks like a full game. Like, it looks like it's been developed for a while. And it's pretty, like... you can't just make this up.
Yeah, like, you can't do that. And if you did do that, then somebody down at WB needs to give them a call immediately and bring them in and have them start making some damn games, because it looks good. I don't know. Some people are saying that I know they had an idea of the studio that might be behind it, but then I also heard contradicting reports that was not the case. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Initially, I heard that Rocksteady might be working on it, but then I heard maybe Avalanche, but I'm not sure people really are 100% sure. I mean, Rocksteady would make sense because they're based in Europe and they're owned by WB, I believe. I really don't know. It just does look like a high-budget game from what the leak showed. But like you said, most of the videos have been taken down by now, but you probably can find it somewhere on Reddit.
Yeah, I had to like. Luckily, if someone hadn't like posted it within our own Discord channel, I searched for like a couple hours after that, and like Warner Brothers went into full PR mode and had everything taken down like within hours of that leak, and that's a main reason why I think this leak is actually credible. I don't see them doing that otherwise, because I mean, people make fake videos all the time, like fake trailers for stuff, and they this is something that they definitely wanted to keep under wraps. So I think we might possibly be seeing a Harry Potter game next year.
Yeah, I think because here's the thing, they can't. The Redditor, he comes out and he says, oh, this is this is the new Harry Potter game or whatever, but the video itself, can Warner Bros. Truly just take it down just because someone says it's Harry Potter if it's not actually using anything that's truly been created by them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just it would be we would still have those videos for sure, I think, if this was not 100% credible. I think this is 100% legit, no question in my mind.
Yeah, I'm looking over it again, and just the visuals are just fantastic. They zoom in on the character, either creation or choices, and they're really high polygon count, and just resolution is looking great, despite the fact that it's kind of off-screen footage.
Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm thinking, all right? So, who at this studio, like, because they had to be like, what? You're, like, literally in the studio, like, taking footage from, like, I mean, he's obviously, like, recording it on something else while it's playing on something else, because it just looks like that.
Yeah.
So, like, what is this guy doing? Is he just, like, someone sneak into the studio while everyone's on coffee break?
I don't know
I don't
what
know.
his motivation is. It's just, that's always weird to me with leaks. It's like, you work for this company and you sign something, most likely. Like,
Maybe he's just like, everyone needs to know. No. And I thank him. He's a hero.
yeah, I'm watching it for the third time since we've been talking, but I'm in the same boat as Devin. I was just like screaming when I saw this. It's my dream to play a game where you could like pick your house and just, man, like, I guess we could go into like, what would we want to see in a Harry Potter game? Like, what would our dream Harry Potter game look like?
I mean, me personally, I want something where I can just like go in year one Hogwarts, play through like 4 years, like within like Hogwarts, and just kind of just do everything within the Harry Potter, world, that, just like be able to go to your classes, pick up a book. You have to like learn about this to increase certain skills, and obviously, just if you want to be on the Quidditch team, go for it. You have to try out for certain positions, stuff like that. I don't know. There's a lot you could really, really dive into this if you want.
Yeah, I think the world is
And,
just is already so established and is just so full, and there's so many things within the universe that I think that would, yeah, what you're saying is just like having those options, but not necessarily having to do all those things like for the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's no set way to go about it. Like maybe have like kind of like your set story, your plot that you eventually fall on, but just like kind of like, kind of whatever. Do it how you want to do it. If you want to suck at something, then, suck at it. If you want to be something that I do think that they're going to be introducing here, what it looks like they're actually going to have curse spells, and, possibly even this is going to be a way more mature version of Harry Potter, because on the previous ones that was really not the case. So
It was kind of like more of an adaptation of the movie itself.
exactly. So I don't know. Not to say that like killing things with spells is cool, but
It
it's
is. Brandon, so you're not really a Harry Potter aficionado, so what would you want to see in this game to get you into it? And if you check on the Discord, there's a link to it if you want to look at it real quick.
Yeah, I've kind of been scrolling through it while I've been listening to you guys, and it looks It looks strictly visually, it looks really good. I like the way it looks. It's very, because it's very hard to find the right look for your game, and so many games, well, not so many, but there are games out there that fail to, in my opinion, grasp the proper visuals for it. And I think this really captures, it's not straying too far to like Uncharted, which is about as realistic. Like, I have people walk in on me playing Uncharted and they're like, oh, what movie is that?
Right.
You know, because it's so realistic. It's not like that, but it's very fitting for what it is. Edit that out. Okay. But as far as getting me psyched enough to go in and say, yes, I'm going to get this game, I would say it would be more, honestly, for me, it would be more about what I don't want to see. Strictly because it's really got my attention, because I really do love fantasy, even though I'm not into Harry Potter per se. And I just don't want to see this fall into the same trap that I feel like The Witcher did. Because The Witcher, I think the world is really cool and I love it, but I never got super into it because there was too much to do, and I felt like there wasn't a strong enough focus on certain things. It was, I mean, you do want to be able to make your own character in these RPGs, and really make it your own, but to an extent. You still want to, I feel like I would still want to have some kind of set, okay, this is the flow you're going through. I don't want to go all the way out of my way and do this side quest. I don't want to get 500 pings for different side quests that I could do. Side quests are good, and there's definitely a way they can be done well, but when it's oversaturated, it becomes overwhelming, and it becomes unattractive to me. So I would want to see the balance.
I see what you're saying. So you prefer more of like, and like even when you say like considering The Witcher, you prefer more of, like, you do like open world games, but you do like also being guided to a linear, like a linear story that keeps you on track. That way you're not just lost in the sauce of, hey, I'm doing random stuff and have no idea kind of what's going on here in the big picture.
Yeah, I think one game that did it really well was Spider-Man, and I know we did a whole thing on that a couple weeks ago, but Spider-Man, for me, I'm not a huge superhero guy, but Spider-Man became an instant top 10 game that I've ever played for me, because I feel like it did that well. It was open world, totally open world, but the thing is that traveling across the whole map wasn't something that was tedious, and it wasn't something where there's a bunch of empty space, which is something that I think the first Red Dead Redemption struggled with, in my opinion, was this vast empty space where it's like, okay, I'm riding on my horse, but like eventually you ride through it enough times where the scenery is like, okay, I've seen this before. Like, why do I have to ride all the way across this map to do this? But Spider-Man, it was very effortless. There's a ton of stuff to do in Spider-Man, but yet it all feels manageable. It introduces it at specific parts during the story where it adds more onto it. There's never any kind of pressure where it's like, oh, you have to go and do this so you can level up your character so you could do the next story thing. If you want to go onto the story, you can go on, and if you don't, then you can fly, or I always do that. You can swing around and complete side quests or complete some bases, challenges, stuff like that. So I thought I would love to see something closer to Spider-Man and a little further away from The Witcher in terms of the open world.
I think I agree with you. And I don't think this Harry Potter game needs to be open world. I think it needs to be more linear than open world, but I think within that linearity, it'd be great to have those abilities, to have those choices of what you want to do. And maybe it's like, so I guess the closest thing I could compare it, my idea of it is a Persona where you're going to class and you like take tests and stuff, but you don't spend all your time there. There's like class activities, like you could join a sport, and there's like 3 options, or you could go to a band, but you can't pick all of them. But you have options, and they're not all super time consuming. So I would like to see like a more focused experience with still that ability to have choice within there, and still have like enough things to do where you can't do everything. If you know.
Yeah, and like,
I
mean,
think
like, to the extent of I don't
Go
want to
ahead,
see
Devin.
like an open world Harry Potter game either, to where you can just like, in a sense of open world, and I'm using quotes with my fingers right now, to the sense where your world is Hogwarts. Explore everything that there is to do with Hogwarts. I mean, how big could you honestly make it?
I mean, maybe like the forest outside.
Yeah, like Max. So I mean, you don't have like a vast. It's not like we're talking Assassin's Creed here. It's not like we're talking The Witcher or Red Dead. We're talking, you have your school grounds, the forest, and then maybe if they want to send you over to like some other part where it just like an instance kind of deal where it sends you over there. But kind of like, reiterating on what Nathaniel said, giving you the options to have the flexibility to have that Hogwarts experience the way you want to have it. You're not necessarily tied to doing, hey, I gotta go do this and then straight to this, to where like you can choose, like, pick your classes, pick what you want to be good at, and then like specialize your own, your own skills, and maybe even give it like different situations to where you could have, different outcomes in the overall story based upon that. So I mean, I think there's a lot of ways you could go with it, but yeah, I totally agree with you. I would hate to see them get extremely open world with it, to where you're just like, okay, I'm just running around and I have no idea what the hell's going on. So yeah, I mean, I agree with that point.
So you guys are saying like you don't necessarily want to see an open world game. For me, if this game weren't open world, I honestly wouldn't be remotely interested.
Really?
If this turned out to not be open world, but I think it needs to be open world. I think the best comparison that I can think of off the top of my head is Mass Effect. That game is the Mass Effect, the original trilogy, is open world.
Are they?
But
I feel like
yeah,
the original 3 aren't really open world, and Andromeda like tries to be open world.
Well, but that's what I'm talking
They are
about.
in a sense to where you can go to whatever planet you want, but it's still very.
It's like
I don't
limited.
know. That
open
would be
world, maybe.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is Mass Effect, like you think about the original Mass Effect series, and you're like, was that open world? I don't really think it was, but it was. It was open world. You could go to any planet you wanted, and when you landed on the planet, you could free roam the planet. But the planet, like, you were never traveling around the entire planet like a No Man's Sky or something like that. You were on the planet, and you had limitations within there. But when you were on that planet, or when you were in a galaxy or whatever, or in a system, you could go and do anything, go anywhere you wanted, as long as it was like a specific place you could go, kind of thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I would still prefer a greater degree of linearity in my Harry Potter game, just because I want to make sure, or I would want to make sure it has a great story, even though there are choices within it, or there would be choices within it. I would like a really well written story. So if it sacrificed open world for some of that, I would be down for that. And I think Harry Potter, at least at the point where you are going throughout Hogwarts and being a student, I think being any sort of open world would kind of detract from what that game would be trying to accomplish.
See, I see
And
it.
like,
I see it
what do
being.
you see?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So this is a question to you. Like, when
Okay.
you say open world Harry Potter, what do you mean though? Because like when I think like I said, open world as in the fact of like I got Hogwarts and I have, the grounds around it. like, limited in scope. What are you thinking as far as like open world?
So when you have true and 100% open world is what The Witcher has.
Right.
And I think that would be terrible for this game. But what I think would be great, so like I don't know any of the places really except for I know the name Hogwarts. But other than that, I don't really know any of the other places within the Harry Potter universe. But if I were to like take the United States and I were to say, okay, well, if I were to take the United States and say, okay, the Northeast, you have New York, you have Connecticut, Vermont, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, like take those 5 states, let's say. And then let's say you could go to any of those 5 states that you wanted at any time. But once you got to that state, you were limited to like the capital city of that state.
Devin, correct this man.
Does that make sense?
Wait,
Or like, you know what? Maybe even better would be like
I said
if
Devin,
you're in
correct this man.
Okay, so here's
New
your
York.
biggest issue with this. Okay, so the biggest issue is where would you go? Like Harry Potter and like the world of Harry Potter, it usually focuses around Hogwarts and a few other places, and there's not enough there to really give you that. I mean, unless you want to take some wizards out in the streets and
For a
just
good
get
old
weird
brawl.
with it. Yeah.
Or get weird
So
with
like,
it.
Well, I'm thinking like I don't know about like I'm 100% ignorant when it comes to Harry Potter, but like when I'm thinking of like a fantasy game that centers around spells and stuff, like I think about kind of the way traveling between towns works in Skyrim, except without the actual travel in there. So like you could say like kind of like you go to a pause menu and you say, okay, I want to go to I'm totally blanking on all of my Skyrim
kind of like you go to a
towns.
signpost and just go to a different town, like let's say Wordsworth or whatever you want to call the town, and then you want to go to the other town called Poe, but you don't like travel to them. You just go between them because the story happens in those different parts, I think is what you're trying to get across.
Right. And then you get there and you have free roam over
I
that
could be down
place
for
that you're
like,
in.
I could get behind that.
Yeah. I think that would be better probably for a sequel to this game where you're getting closer to your senior year and maybe past your senior year, because I think the first game would be better to be focused like when you're in school rather than leaving the school.
Just give me like, let me go buy my wand, let me go buy my stuff, just let me go to the bank real quick. I'm happy, man.
Yeah, come to Hogwarts for the first time and just like see everything.
Just give
with
me
your
that.
pet
Give me that
toad.
original Harry Potter experience, and I'm golden. I don't care what you do after that. I'm good.
Yeah, and I think they can do that while still appealing to non-fans of Harry Potter. They just need to like, yeah, I think because if they actually do make it an RPG, like it seems like it's action RPG, like it kind of seems like it's going to be from the video. I think Harry Potter fans and non-Harry Potter fans are going to love it. I mean, Harry Potter just has massive appeal.
Like
either way,
this is going to be like, so like my older brother's girlfriend is like a die-hard Harry Potter fan, but she doesn't play video games. As soon as I tell her about this, it's game over. My brother's going to be like, "Why did you do this to me?" She's gonna make him go buy it day one, guaranteed. And I'm gonna.
But if they cancel this, like Star Wars 1313,
God, that looks.
you will
so
never
good,
hear from me
didn't it?
again.
That looks so good,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Oh,
That
Yeah.
really irked me because I was really like, I want to get started on that now because I was really looking forward to that, and I just
dude,
what
I have
happened?
a friend who like will call me every other week and just be like, "I'm very sad they canceled that game. I'm still not over it."
That was like, I don't even like what they showed. I was like, this looks.
Just give it to me.
It was like, I've always wanted another bounty hunter. I've always like I loved the original bounty hunters for Star Wars, and like I don't mean to dive into Star Wars here, but like, God, I'm not gonna get into this. Oh.
But I think at the end of the day, I would love to see this come out late next year. It looks like at the point where it could release late next year, but I guess we're just. From
what I see, it looks like it could release like, going towards like leading into like E3 kind of deal. Like I don't know. You have for that trailer, they're definitely in alpha stage right now. They're getting to the point where they're possibly could have a beta. Like I don't know. Like
I honestly think they were getting ready for a reveal like in a few months.
Yeah, they would. This guy is such an. I'm not gonna cuss on podcast, but I mean, to me he's a hero, but to them they're probably like, dude.
Oh, they're firing this guy.
You just ruined your career. They're gonna figure out where that came from, and you're done. But thank you.
Gonna get a little Avada Kedavra on him.
But
No,
I mean,
okay.
anything else to add on our Harry Potter expedition here?
For me,
Closing
just
statements?
give me this game. I'm like, I also am just, the fact that I can't even talk is like, that's how excited I am. I've read the books, I've watched the movies, I love Fantastic Beasts. Just, I want more, and this is what I want. I want a Harry Potter game that's like good and original.
Brandon, anything else to add?
Well, I was given a Harry Potter book once, and I've seen Harry Potter trailers before. and even with that limited scope, this is still something that I'm excited for, because if it's done well, I think this could be a really fun game. Not even necessarily, again, from like my kind of perspective, it's not even necessarily just a great Harry Potter game, but it's a great fantasy game.
Right.
Can I make one request?
Yes.
Brandon, if you can stomach it, and you don't have to, but just watch the first Harry Potter movie. Just the first. Just the first one. Just the first one. If you can make it a little over 2 hours, just watch the first one.
I think it's under 2 hours.
Movie,
it's under
like,
2 hours.
Don't those movies just like really pander to like teenage audiences though?
I don't think so. They're just good movies, honestly.
They're
in my
good
opinion.
movies, man. I give it a shot. Just give it a shot. Come back to me next week.
I've heard.
What's it gonna? Is it gonna kill you? It's a movie, man. And then you can come back to me and be like, that movie sucked. And then I'm gonna be like, you are absolutely wrong. But it's okay. Perfectly fine.
Well, I don't know. I've heard from some pretty diehard Harry Potter fans before. I've talked to them, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't understand how you haven't done Harry Potter. Like, how have you not read the books and all that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't like it." And then we start talking about the movies, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the movies sucked, but the books."
No, I think the only movie that sucks is the Order of the Phoenix. The rest of them I think they're great, but that's a whole nother.
See, now I couldn't even tell you. Is that the last one?
No,
is
that's
that the second to last one.
I think it's the fifth one.
If you watch the first movie, you'll get hooked, and then you'll figure it out.
Yeah, just go into thinking like it's kids who are leading the plot. They're like middle school type kids in the movie, but despite that, it's just a great time. So
I'll think about it.
Or just don't think about it and jump in. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us this week to just, I guess mostly hear Devin and I nerd out about
Harry Potter.
So
The fun
join
stuff.
us next week, and we'll talk about something just as interesting or more interesting.
Yeah.
More interesting.
Surely more interesting. And definitely don't forget to, like, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Podbean, as well as iTunes now. Working on coming to Spotify. Should be able to after next week's episode. And don't forget to go to sickcritic.com for all your latest gaming news and reviews. But with that, I'm Devin, here with Nathanael and Brandon, and we're signing out.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye-bye.